Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Creating Change. I'm Jillian Walsh, and I'm an eating disorder specialist here at Change Creates Change Eating Disorder Care. I'm a trained registered dietitian as well as a practicing registered psychotherapist qualifying here in Canada. And today we're here to talk about refeeding process. So if you watched the last video, which was all about starvation syndrome, we started to talk about how there's an antidote or a treatment for starvation syndrome, and that is the refeeding process. So let's get into that. The refeeding process is truly the act of nutrition restoration or nutrition rehabilitation. Really what we're focusing on is starting the body back to what we would consider more regular eating. So of course, after a period of restriction or after a period of starvation, the body really does need a plan in place where it's able to kind of repair all the damage that's been done from the restriction or from the starvation syndrome. So that plan is called the refeeding process. Now, some programs you might hear this referred to as weight restoration. However, here at Change Creates Change, we tend to focus not so much on weight, but on nutrition. So we call it here nutrition rehabilitation. But really, it's just different names for the same thing. So you might hear refeeding process, you might hear nutrition rehabilitation, or you might hear weight restoration. So really what we're talking about is repairing all the damage that's been done to the body by the eating disorder. So the refeeding process is the process of starting to eat regularly again. And really what we're talking about is mechanical eating. So mechanical eating is not really normalized eating, because what we ask you to do is to rely on external cues for when and how much to eat. So what I mean by that is we are looking at the clock. For example, we might recommend that you're eating every 2 to 3 hours. We might recommend that you're eating within an hour of waking. And so what we mean by that is traditionally folks may be able to rely on hunger and fullness cues. However, in the refeeding process, we really want to rely on external cues, such as time. So this is not the long-term goal for everyone, but for most people, mechanical eating is a means to an end. So it's a means to get back to normalized eating. Most people that we work with, though, will spend a significant amount of time relying on mechanical eating as part of the refeeding process. So let's talk a little bit about what the refeeding process might bring with it. First of all, I want to be crystal clear when I say the refeeding process sucks. It is not something that we enjoy. It is not something to look forward to. However, it is something that you need to go through in order to overcome the eating disorder. If you are working with a healthcare team, they will hold your hand every step of the way and make sure to make that process just a little bit easier on you. For example, there's a lot of emotional discomfort that may come up as you start to refeed your body. The reason for this is that the eating disorder tends to keep folks quite numb, quite flat, so you actually don't feel those emotions very strongly. Now, as the body becomes more refed and rehabilitated, we can get a flood of emotions. And truly, maybe we've been relying on that coping mechanism of the eating disorder for so long that we don't actually have other coping skills in our toolbox to cope with that flood of emotions. That is something that an eating disorder specialist can help you with. The other piece that comes up is the physical discomfort that comes with eating more. That might be gas, it might be bloating, it might be constipation or diarrhea. There is a lot of GI discomfort that can come with asking your body to digest food that it hasn't had to digest in quite some time. Of course, if you're working with a team, they will give you lots of strategies for how to overcome that physical discomfort in the moment of the refeeding process. There are lots of ways to be kind to your body that can really reduce that suffering that comes with the refeeding process. So ideally, that process of refeeding our body is able to get shortened so we're able to return to more normalized eating quickly. Now, there's a caveat with that, and not everyone who is overcoming or working on eating disorder recovery is aspiring for normalized eating. There is a percentage of folks that rely on mechanical eating for the duration of their eating disorder recovery, and that's okay. It's truly about knowing your own expectations and your own limits and working within that. So if you're working with an eating disorder specialist, it's okay to advocate for your goals and not the one-size-fits-all approach or, best practice. Because while best practice is great for the majority of folks, there are going to be some individuals that need a more tailored approach to their eating disorder recovery. And that's absolutely okay. There's no shame in needing a different approach from what is the baseline or the gold standard. All right, folks, so that is a quick rundown on the refeeding process. Don't forget to go back and watch the starvation syndrome video from last week. That'll help give you some more context as to what we're talking about today. And then next week, we're going to get into refeeding syndrome. So this is a significant, serious complication that can come with the refeeding process if you don't have a healthcare team that's monitoring and coaching you through that process. So before you jump into the refeeding process, make sure you press pause and wait for our next video all about the refeeding syndrome so that you're making sure that you're not going to trigger a medical complication with refeeding your body. All right, folks, thank you so much for being here. And if you'd like to comment below, we would love to hear what's been holding you back from starting the refeeding process. Also, drop some questions about what refeeding might mean to you or anything that you need to have more information on. We're going to have a FAQ video in the coming weeks, so we'll actually grab those questions from the comment box below. And if you've liked what you've heard today, you've been enjoying the Creating Change series, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to hit the bell so you get notified when the next video is released. All right, folks, bye for now.